We're all individuals.
Hold
Yeah, we're
on.
all individuals, yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
You have a watch link?
What's that?
A watch link?
Oh, yeah. Give me a sec.
Yeah. So what up, guys? We are live. We are starting the stream. We're going to wait for a little bit of people to get in here. Classy has told me that this is going to be, I guess, an abortion discussion around should abortions be publicly funded. So this is kind of just a little middle of the week stream, guys. So we appreciate you guys joining. First, I want to get to know everybody, though. So we have first Elias. Elias. Oh, excuse me. Elias. So are you a fan of the show, or are you a YouTuber?
I have to be honest, until Classy invited me to this discussion, I had never seen your channel before, but I scrolled through it a little bit. So
okay.
You put out some pretty interesting stuff, I must say.
Okay. All right, cool. We appreciate you joining us tonight. And next we have
Jadiva.
Jadiva?
Yeah. Hello.
What's up, Jadiva? So we actually talked before the stream, guys. She is a she does watch the show occasionally and is a friend of Classy. So thank you for joining us tonight, Jadiva. Where are you from, by the way? What's that name from?
It's Arabic because of my grandpa.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's very beautiful.
Thank you.
Of course, we got Classy, and now we who do you want me to talk about you, or do you want to introduce yourself?
Oh, come on, people know who I am. No one knows.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna skip right over you because
no one cares about me.
I know. I was just gonna skip.
Well, my name's Classy Liberal. I sometimes do hangouts with Dreamer.
And he's hijacked my channel because they has got a streaming strike from the alt-right who are after him. Right, the alt-right is after you.
Oh no!
I mirror one video from Crowd, and the freaking alt-right gets me, freaking reports that video, false flags me, and now I can't live stream until November.
That sucks, man.
It does suck.
I got hit with one of those bans too, so I know how it feels, man.
Yeah. So Dreamer, you want to introduce Sandra and
yes.
LSP?
So we got a returning guest here who was a guest before on the Revenge of the Dreamers stream. We have Right Wing Sister, also known as Sandra. What would you like us to call you during the stream, by the way?
Sunny is what I usually go by on the internets.
On the internets,
yeah.
Sunny. So welcome to the show. As you guys know, she is a YouTuber as well. If you want to maybe just briefly talk about what you talk about in your channel and things that interest you.
I talk about conservative issues, Black issues, all kinds of issues from my perspective. Usually people don't see a Black single female with no kids and a conservative what? So it's kind of an anomaly. That's kind of my shtick. And here's Missy. She wants attention, so she's getting it right now.
Oh, it's a cutie.
Why, thank you.
And we also have the Liberal Sanity Project, who I saw you were on Classy Liberals podcast. What's up? So, if you want to quickly introduce yourself, what do you have a channel as well, right?
Yeah, I got a channel. I'm just a big memer, do liberal politics on YouTube, and that is basically all I do.
Liberal politics. Okay. All right, guys. So yeah, and this is the should abortions be publicly funded? So apparently before the stream, you guys were going over partners and teams and stuff.
Yeah, individuals. Come on, let's promote classical liberalism and be.
Oh my goodness.
Individual.
Let's not promote that, but let's do it individually.
Okay. So yeah, I guess we'll throw it out there, and then people's, I don't want to go down the line and say, who believes in what. It'll obviously be apparent during the stream. So, should abortions be publicly funded? Who wants to start?
I can take the lead here.
Go ahead, Liberal Sanity.
So here's a proposition. If you publicly fund abortions, you will get so many different benefits, societally speaking. If you look at this on a macro level, you're going to reduce crime if you publicly fund abortions, because people who otherwise would have had access to abortions now suddenly have access, and it reduces the number of unwanted births. It improves the financial situations of the individuals who want it. Publicly funded abortions is basically a situation where every party wins out, including the individuals who don't want a child and the taxpayer who ultimately isn't burdened with taking care of a child that nobody wanted.
Yeah, I mean, I would. I guess I'll jump in if no one's going to jump in. Guys, feel free to just jump in. I wouldn't say. I would disagree that it has a public benefit to society. I mean, I would dispute your claim that it's going to reduce crime. I mean, why do you think it's going to reduce crime? Just
That was
because?
my question.
Yeah. So, so there was a study into this. Basically, it's called the Levitt-Donahue hypothesis. And what these researchers did, Levitt and Donahue, was they looked at the states that had legalized abortion, and they looked at Roe versus Wade, and they studied the demographic groups most likely to commit crime, and they basically did the math. They looked at these certain states where the abortions were legal. So many years into the future after their legalization, and they noticed a marked drop in crime that could be directly associated with the legalization of abortion. So that's what I based that proposition on.
And so,
Okay.
is your main reason for advocating for the public funding of abortion that it reduces crime
I'm in poverty, yeah.
and poverty? Okay. I also agree with you that abortion should be publicly funded, though my rationale is a little bit different. I think that healthcare in general is a public good and therefore should be publicly funded. And even though I'm not pro-choice per se, I would definitely contend that abortion fits within that. And if the objection to it is that certain people see abortion as murder and therefore shouldn't be forced to subsidize it, I would challenge you and say, then why are people made to fund the military? Why are people made to fund capital punishment, which leads to a lot of innocent people dying? Most of the reliable studies have showed that at least 4% of all people on death row are innocent. So I would counter with that and say that, unfortunately, we don't really get to have a say in what our tax dollars go to. It's whatever the government's agenda is. And you can vote to influence that, but you can't get choosy as far as that goes.
Right. So really quick to jump on that, and then I'm going to hand it to Right Wing Sister on the previous point. I'd say the difference with all of those is just that, I mean, abortion, the term kind of has been hijacked. Like I think on my abortion debate, like someone posted like, oh, the Dexter definition of abortion or something, like some kind of definition of abortion puts life after birth. So because of that, it's not actually death. So it's all of like these things, which to me, it's all like these like loopholes that you have to go through to not actually call what it is, which it is murder. I mean, you are killing a life. I mean, no one disputes it's a life. Then people say like, oh, well, it's not a life because it can't be sustained outside the womb. Well, what about premature babies? There's plenty of premature babies all the time. So I think that argument goes out of the window. However, yeah, so when it comes to like funding the military, funding out other things, I mean, me personally, I believe that none of that, yeah, should be funded. Everything should be privately funded. Nothing should be publicly funded. I'm very extreme libertarian. I mean, that's what I would be defined as on the conditions that they put out there. I just believe that any kind of, as someone who is an immigrant from Brazil, as someone who has been to different countries, that's why America is the best country, in my opinion. That's why I live here, because they do the best at just keeping out of the lives of people and having less taxes as possible. Yeah. So, but when it comes to abortion, yeah. So going back to Right Wing Sister, did you have a point to make? Because I know you haven't said anything yet.
Well, I'm fiercely pro-life. And I don't think it should be publicly funded just because I do believe that it's the death of a human being. But beyond that, I don't want to make that my main point. I just think that we need less government in general. I don't think that any type of health thing besides for the very, very sick or the very, very old should be publicly funded, or the very, very poor. I mean, if you qualify, I know that people take advantage of that. You know, I'm for publicly funded programs, but to an extent. You know, I'm right wing, but I'm not too libertarian where I kind of want, you know, no public funding like Mr. Dreamer.
So I would.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
So can I make a proposition to you?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I don't know. Do I call you by your name or do I?
Sunny is fine.
What do I call you?
Sunny.
I'm sorry. What?
Sunny.
Sunny?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Sunny. I'm sorry. I make a proposition here. If you want less government interference in your life, you should be on my side in this debate. Because if you publicly fund abortions, you're going to ultimately reduce the burden on the welfare state to take care of unwanted children. It would inevitably result in lesser taxes for you, ironically enough.
I get that point, and that may be true, but I do believe that life has a precedence over, burdens on, whether it be Social Security, public schools, and stuff like that. I do believe that every person, and I think a person is made at conception. I do believe that they should get a chance at life. And I know that a lot of people would say that that's cruel, and a lot of people aren't ready for parenthood and taking care of a child. I understand that, but we need to have better education, because with all the sex education going on, I just saw statistics that STDs are through the roof. So lots of people are having unprotected sex still after all this information and all this data that we have about sex and education and all of these things, and we're still just really irresponsible with it. So,
well, it depends on which states you're talking about. You're talking about the red states where abstinent-only education is king, or the blue states where comprehensive sexual education is the standard.
It was as a whole, so I didn't break it down by state. So I don't know those numbers, unfortunately.
I
But
think it's
Sonny,
important
Sonny,
to
I have
bring
to
it.
ask. I'm sorry to cut you off,
Oh,
Classy, but Sonny,
no,
I have to ask. Where do you stand on the public funding of capital punishment?
Capital punishment,
Yes,
I don't.
which is the death penalty. Capital punishment is a euphemism.
It has to be without a shadow of a doubt. I'm for capital punishment. I'm from Texas. It's a thing here, but it has to be without a shadow of a doubt. And even then, it's tricky. Like if a person confesses to it, like that dude that killed that Molly Tibbetts girl or whatever, I think he deserves the death penalty. I mean,
But
if they
there's no
confess
such
to
thing
it-
as a shadow of a doubt, because juries and judges are people after all, and people are fallible. What you have to take into consideration is that, like I said earlier, all the studies show that innocent people are getting killed with the capital punishment, and you don't have a problem with subsidizing that murder, which is definitely a life.
Because
You
it's,
do have
it's
a problem with subsidizing abortion, which not everyone even views as a life to begin with.
Right, I agree that that there's a correlation there, but
if I could jump in, if I could jump in, if you don't mind. I mean, I would kind of agree with Sonny. Like, I mean, I'm kind of back and forth on the issue, but I would, my defense in that with is that, maybe it is subsidized. I mean, the whole point of the death penalty to me is like, I mean, I don't want a criminal. I don't want someone who did something worthy of the death penalty, or feeding off the government. We got to cut the expenses as much, because all the money the government gets, they don't know how to mess with it, and they end up wasting more money, in my opinion.
Well, I don't mean to make this about the death penalty, but
really
quick.
quick.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, really quick. It's just the value of life. That's what over time is that what I'm starting to see, and why I. After going and visiting to a women's event where they helped women, and it was anti-abortion, teaching women to seek adoption if they truly can't support a baby, I feel like society is losing the value of life. And at least with the death penalty, it's people who had their chance. And like Sonny said in her opening statement, is that you're taking the chance from a life already who hasn't been born. You still see it as a life, but obviously even born into the world, you're taking it away. And people want to have the dictionary or the science definition, like, oh, well, it's cut off at here. So that, that means it's okay for us to suck it out of the womb. So, even though people wouldn't want infanticide, which to me, it's the same shit. So go ahead, liberal sanity.
So I want to suggest that we're all already starting off with the wrong conversation. The topic of the discussion is whether or not abortion should be publicly funded. And at the moment, we seem to be debating whether or not abortion should even be legal, which isn't. If it's going to be publicly funded, we all should be operating on the proposition that it's going to be legal. That should be a non-starter. So if you guys want to have a separate discussion, that's certainly something we can have, but it's not the topic of this discussion.
Sure, yeah. We're just touching on points that people are bringing up because that is important, our stances of where we come from, how we see abortion. But if you want to take that,
I would like to say my point.
I can
because
what's up?
No, I just want to say, because my point kind of differs from kind of both points that were already said. So I am pro-choice. I do believe that the right to an abortion is an individual right for women. And I would say it has to go both ways. If you say that it's none of the government's business what a woman does with her body, I would agree with you. But when you subsidize it or pay for it, you are making it your business. When you give aid to countries, and those countries, use that aid however they see fit, however that country acts is your business, though,
Right.
right? So I would say that if you want to make the argument that hey, it's a woman's body, the government shouldn't tell her what to do with it. Why should we also pay for it then? Because in a sense, you are sort of making it other people's business then, because now they have they're financially involved.
Yeah, so I don't agree that it's other people's. I don't disagree that it's the government's business. I think they're actually quite involved in a lot of aspects of life, and that's fine. But I would ask this of the antis in here who say it shouldn't be publicly funded. Without naming morality, what benefits do you even get if abortion's not publicly funded?
They get to live.
I mean, it's the benefit. I mean, I guess in a selfish point of view, the benefit is my wallet. Like I just rather than not have any of my money go towards something I don't agree with. I mean, that's it.
And something that, that we can't, like, we have to pay taxes, we have to do this. And, for people, if it is legal and it's something that you think that is morally wrong and you have no control but to fund it, I think that that's something that goes against, a person's, whether or not you believe in this is moral or not, but, some people do. So I think forcing that on people, just like some people didn't like Obamacare, but it was forced onto them and they didn't think it's fair, but it's the rule of law. It's kind of like that. We don't like it, but I think it would benefit the people who are against it just because it's a relief on their pocketbook and, their, I guess, beliefs, basically.
Then I guess you introduced kind of a dangerous slippery slope there, Sonny, with all due respect, because when you say that something shouldn't be publicly funded because people have a moral opposition to it, well, then that just gives anyone the freedom to tack on whatever they want. And before you know it, nothing's getting publicly funded at all. And so that's why I brought up the point earlier about consistency, to where within the parameters of this discussion, it's a lot harder to argue against Revenge's point that nothing should be publicly funded versus yours, where you're being pretty inconsistent because you see the death penalty, which it has been proven to murder innocent people, as being fine to be publicly funded, and yet you have that opposition on the same grounds against abortion being publicly funded. So that's kind of the problem I'm having here.
Well, it's not, to me, it's not an inconsistency because babies haven't done anything. Whenever an innocent person is put in jail, they've done, things in their life that they shouldn't have done, whether it be a lie or something like that. Babies or
killed for a lie.
I understand that they shouldn't be.
Okay.
There's no one is perfect. I'm not saying that, just because they did one thing wrong, they should be killed. But this unborn fetus, whatever you want to call it, hasn't done anything but just be there. They haven't done anything. So to me, it's not good that innocent people are put to death in jail, whether for crimes they didn't commit. That's atrocious. But I think even more so is abortion. So if it was legal in America, which it is, I don't think that we need more tacking on to it for that. I know that I'm not trying to make it a moral thing, but a lot of people think it is. So that's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
Well, taking away, we'll take away, just to jump in, just to help Sonny here. No, real quick, I'll pass it to you next. Because it is going to be going off what you said, which is, so yeah, not even thinking about morality. You're saying that, because of this study, it's showing that it's reducing crime. Well, what about the statistics showing that, the demographic that's affected the most because of abortions is...
Blacks.
Say that again?
Hispanics and blacks.
Hispanics and blacks. Yeah, blacks has been the highest consistently. I think I have a thing here saying, let me get from the last census, who was saying national...
Excuse me again. I get random hiccups.
But that is voluntary. No one's making you get an abortion.
Right. I understand that.
Of course.
So I'm not sure how important that point is.
That point, the important that point is because basically liberal sanity was saying that it's reducing crime. So I guess the highest crime, the people who are committing the highest crime, look at, I guess, blacks and Hispanics, they're also aborting at the highest. I don't think it's in my opinion, it's a net negative. When it's you have a certain demographic, they have the highest crime. And guess what? They also have the highest abortion. Obviously, abortion isn't fixing that crime.
It's
So
an
that's-
interesting point. You have to take everything on balance because obviously,
can't
if
know
you
that.
really wanted to reduce crime
Well,
to
we
the
know that by-
maximum extent, you would just off everyone. So, like you said, it's a balancing act.
Sure.
Right. So you can't actually know that abortion is not fixing crime in any way in the black community. We can. I mean, I could just as easily say that a lack of abortion would lead to higher crime in the black community. And the difference between you and me is I actually have the data to back up my assertions. I provided you the Levitt-Donahue hypothesis. You're free to look over it. But the prop,
Yeah,
the
I'm not this
community
one who
that
just
is-
concedes because you have this study. If you're actually in the black communities, in the Hispanic communities, you're seeing what abortion is bringing, which is just a devaluing of life. It's not just this cookie cutter, like, oh yeah, well this study says, well this. No, go ahead.
This is a separate debate, but poverty brings the devaluing of life.
Uh,
I also think
Sure.
it's important to.
I mean, it's better
point
than
out
killing
that-
them.
I also think it's important, just in defense of liberal sanity, that his point about crime has nothing to do with race. It has to do with unwanted children more so. And we all know that neglected children and victims of neglect are more susceptible to crime than those who are not.
Well, it's because he's saying it's going to lower crime.
Right.
It's happening highest in the most crime, people who commit the most crime, which is blacks and Hispanics. I mean,
Oh, I understand. I'm saying
So-
that's coincidental.
Well, here's a
it's
here's
not
a radical
coincidental.
proposition. It's never just one thing, right? It's never just access to abortion that's going to completely erase crime. It's
Right.
better schools. It's more police. It's after school programs. Pick your poison.
Sure.
It's a conglomeration of different things working in concert with each other that lowers crime. Abortion is just one of these pieces in the cog.
Yeah, I
agree
think
with that.
I think why can't it be the last freaking thing we explore? Why does it have? That's my thing.
I think I want
Because the subject of the debate is whether or not to publicly fund it.
I think I want to bring
Yeah,
up
so I
another
don't
point,
know. Yeah, so-
that it's because we're funding all these things, and are you one person that thinks that healthcare is a right? Liberal Sanity and Elias?
Elias, and I
Absolutely,
do
yes.
believe
Elias, sorry.
there's a right. We're in agreement there. We both believe that healthcare is a right. I think it falls under the right to life in the Constitution, to be quite honest with you.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, what does
beyond that,
we have a right to pursue life, liberty, and our
right,
how
right.
it goes. But we have a right to pursue those things, but we don't have a right to those things. That's my
No, I think you have a right to those things. To answer your question, simply put, Sonny, yes, I believe healthcare is a right.
Okay, so Elias and Liberal Sanity, you guys believe that. So that's more money going towards things we're already, let's just say that it's, publicly funded now. At the way the economy is right now, it's on the up, but it's not all the way there. And also with all of our debt and all of our deficits, and, we need money, basically.
So
We're gonna-
I don't. Oh, sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I'm just gonna say we're gonna run out of money soon, because once they see that, they can go to get an abortion free of charge to them, but it's kind of out of the pocket a little, technically due to taxes, abortions are gonna go up, and they've Planned Parenthood alone already profited I forget how much money from abortions, I don't know, which is not that much, compared to other things like Medicare and military and other social programs, but it's going to put an already bigger dent in our pockets, and we already can't afford Social Security is gone. I won't get a Social Security when I'm older. It's going to be gone. So why add another expense to what we already owe so much money to?
Well, I can answer this in two parts.
Go ahead.
First is an observation, and hopefully an astute one, that if you have less babies who are less in poverty, who are less crime prone, all these different things that we know unwanted children contribute to, then we have less of a tax burden we have less of an obligation to them, right? We don't have to spend as much on welfare because there's not these babies who nobody wanted, right? We don't have to spend much on prison because there's not these babies that nobody wanted. So we'll actually be saving money elsewhere, even if we publicly fund abortion. Now, the other part I wanted to say was, you said that we're going to run out of money eventually. We've been a country for 239 years. When?
No, not run out of money. Just well, I mean, technically, we're just not going to have enough money to fund those.
We already ran out of money. We're
Yeah.
freaking
Yeah,
in
we're
debt.
into
We're in
debt,
debt.
so
We're in debt. We're
We ran out of money a
printing-
long time ago.
Yeah, I mean,
But if
it's
your
just gonna
objection
come
to
a head.
publicly funding abortion is that it's more money that we don't have, then why aren't you opposing things that cost a lot more. You mentioned yourself that essentially in our national budget, abortion is a drop in the ocean. Why aren't you fighting against those things? The biggest waste of
That's
money.
not the reason I don't like it. That's
No. That's the point that Sonny brought up.
okay.
So
Okay, I see.
addressing that to her.
Obviously, right. Go ahead.
Were you done?
Yeah.
Okay. So the question was, why don't I oppose those other things?
Right.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I understand military, wars happen. We have to defend borders and stuff like that, whatever. Welfare and other social programs need major overhaul. I do believe that these people, whoever needs them, if they are qualified for them, should utilize those things, whether it be Medicare, Medicaid, CHIP, all those social programs, they have some good in them, food stamps, whatever. They just need to be overhauled, because I used to work in a housing facility in a major city in Texas, and so many people, and it was really sad because it was my people, Black females, and that made up 88% of the residents there. They had so many people taking advantage of it, and they had generations in that in housing or in whatever type of welfare thing. So they never did for themselves. We had a self-sufficiency program. They never took advantage of it. It was the loneliest department we had. Mm-hmm. So my thing is, if you're going to give them this convenience, because let's face it, abortions are for convenience. They use it as birth control. It's just going to be something that it's going to be an expense that it's just another thing that needs to be overhauled. And it's not going to do any net good except for the convenience of the mother, or not really mother. I'm saying.
So okay, so here there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
Firstly, I would suggest that the convenience of a mother is a net good. You enable a mother to go to work, right? To not be burdened, to plan for her own future. That's a net good. You don't have any babies that are ultimately unwanted, who are neglected, who are born into poverty because the mother was forced to take care of a child instead of pursuing a career when they were ready. So there's a net good there. But you're arguing in a different light again. When you say like these welfare programs will need revision, yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with that, although I think you and I go in different directions. But I would propose that it's easier to revise these programs if there's less people on them. And one way we know that we can reduce the burden on our social welfare programs is through abortion, through a liberal abortion program.
So really quick, just to interject. I mean, would you agree, Liberal Sanity, that just looking at it that way, don't you see my point that we're looking at like human life as just we've devalued human life?
The problem with this argument, Dreamer, is that we can't really base policies on how we value human life. We, to a certain extent, I do agree with Liberal Sanity that we do need facts. We do need data.
Yeah, we need data, but every single point. I mean, he didn't make a Liberal Sanity. I mean, do you have data showing that it's a net good for women not to have babies? Well, I mean, yeah. I have data too. I have data too that shows abortions is a net negative on women's psychology. Well, women who tend to have abortions have, it is showing that they have severe psychological effects that affect them down the road. So, I mean, those are contradicting. Like, we can both cite two studies. We're going to have to talk about
they get to voluntarily engage in something that's going to mess with their psychology. Right, I'm not disagreeing with any of the findings of those studies. Now, as for valuing life, I completely arrive at the opposite conclusion. I think by allowing abortion, we value life more. We determine that there's a time and a place because we determine that there's a time and a place.
Who's the government?
Well, no, and individuals who get to plan for their own parenthood.
Okay.
Like, I'm not in favor of the government just kicking in pregnant women's doors and making them have abortion.
Right.
It's there if you want it. It's like any other service.
I mean, I guess the question is, how far do you want to go to fight for life, though? Do you care more about the fact that, like, that fetus, whatever, will get a chance to live, or do you care more that fetus will get a chance to live a good life? Like, I don't know if that.
I do. Yeah, because I don't have the notion that guess what? Most of them are not going to have a good life, so look, we should just kill them. I don't see that logic. Like I don't. That's what people. That tends to seems the crux of the argument, and I'm like kind of dumbfounded. Just
No, but the argument is there's like, do you really want to bring a child into, you know, a world that's just not gonna that's not a good environment for them?
Yeah, because who's to determine if it's a good environment? People, all sorts of people come from shitty environments. I think
we can agree that poverty is a bad environment, right? We can agree that crime is a bad environment. We don't have to like redefine what bad environment is.
Yeah, like
no, I mean it's not a black and white thing. I mean he's the one saying.
Yeah.
Jadira?
Go ahead, Jadira.
When it comes to like, for example, I was looking at this the Donahue-Levitt hypothesis. It says that children who are unwanted or whose parents cannot support them are likelier to become criminals, and that's true if you look at the psychology of adolescence. Like, if they don't have any positive adults in their lives or relationships with adults, they'll lead more toward relationships with peers, which will lead them to be more antisocial and commit crimes. Mm-hmm. So, like, I see where you guys are coming from in terms of like the morality, but I also see the point of making sure that the child has a good environment to grow up and be like a productive citizen.
I understand, but like, so you just said like the problem there is that when the kids are born without parents, then they're seeking. So we should go. That's what I'm saying is like, I at the end of the day don't want to support the abortion because that's not the problem. The problem isn't that the problem is the parents. The parents are obviously not in the kid's life. So
right. Well, what do you want to do about that? Like, do you want to legislate the parents to being in the kid's life?
No, I don't want to legislate anything. I don't want the government to be involved with anything. I don't want the government to be involved with anything.
Let's be realistic. The welfare state's not going anywhere. At some point, you're going to have to pay for somebody's mistake, right? You're going to have to pay for somebody's poor child or somebody's criminal. Which would you rather do? Would you rather pay $600 for an abortion, or would you rather pay, $30,000 for a so many year life imprisonment? See, so many years in prison.
I'm not going to answer that because that's unfair. That's a shitty hand that I don't want to pay either. And while the argument is still there, if abortions can publicly fund it, there are other avenues we can pursue before we get to that. It's not like, you know what, this costs this costs this, so you got to choose one. You know, I'm not choosing anything.
You don't have a choice. You do have to choose one. The welfare state's not going anywhere. So which would you rather?
Or would you prefer, I mean, even if it comes to like adoption programs, wouldn't those be funded by the government?
Not
necessarily.
Yeah, not necessarily. And I mean, and there you go. I mean, even if abortion, to me, like I said, to me, it's not just all about like money. Like if you want to say what's a shittier hand, yes, I will pay money so we can have less abortions. I'll choose that shitty hand that you have.
Well, what if that person grows up to be a criminal and kills someone else, and then you have to pay for that?
So we should kill them. So we should just.
That's not a good argument because you're just making excuses for actual infanticide. If you're worried about people becoming criminals, you just kill them on day one or in the womb. So I wouldn't want to entertain that argument if I were you, because that's a slippery slope.
Okay, let me make a point. Can I make a point then?
Go for it, man.
Go for it.
Do you think that someone that's considering abortion, right, that has that thought in their mind, do you think that's a concern whether or not they're fit to be a parent, if they're already considering having an abortion?
No, because
are you talking from a legal standpoint, or is this just an opinion question?
I guess an opinion.
It seems like an opinion question because we can't legislate who's allowed to have kids and who isn't. That's just not something we should have the right, that government should have the right to do. But if you're saying, in my opinion, is someone who's thinking about having an abortion going to be a good parent? I don't know, I would say, but I would err on the side of saying that someone who wouldn't consider having an abortion is probably going to be more dedicated to that child than someone who has thought about having an abortion.
Yeah, that's my point. Yeah, that's my point.
No, I
mean, it's not a black and white thing, too.
It's not black and white, but we're generalizing here.
Yeah, we're generalizing. However, a woman, we can't legislate thoughts. Like just because a woman like thinks about having an abortion, like that's That's the shit I want to go far away from.
Yeah, that's why I asked Classy to make the distinction on whether he was asking a question with legal implications or just a matter of opinion.
Yeah, I mean, even if it was legal, it's like, how do you determine that, Classy? You know, like.
So
Right. That's why he clarified, saying that it was an opinion question
Right.
and not one with
Right.
legal implications.
So,
Yeah.
do you guys have any experience knowing a female who had an abortion and her reasons? Because I have a few.
I'd like to hear those because I personally do not know any women who have gotten abortions, or at least not that I know of.
100%.
And liberal
of them-
sanity. And liberal sanity. Have you?
no,
Oh,
and
well,
it's not that I know of. If they did, they didn't tell me.
and Jadiva, have you?
I knew of one girl, but I wasn't really close to her. I just know that she was like in a bad relationship, and I guess being irresponsible, and then the father didn't want, or like the guy that impregnated her didn't want to be in her life, didn't really care about her, so she just decided to get an abortion.
mhm.
Oh, that's very sad. So, and Classy liberal, what do you, or do you know someone personally?
He's muted.
Hey, bro, you're muted.
That's the way we like it, though.
He said be right back. Sorry.
Oh.
So, go ahead, Sonny.
I was gonna say 100%, and then when she said about the abusive relationship, it brought mind to another one. So 99% ish was they weren't ready, and then there was one where it wasn't a really abusive relationship. She just tried to hide her cheating ways, so she got an abortion to hide the pregnancy, I guess, with another guy when he was in the Navy. So, yeah, so it's about like 5 or 6 people or women that I know had abortions in my life, because I always ask questions. I'm nosy. I'm sorry, and they just tell me, and they were my friends. So yeah, the experiences that I have and people who I on the internet, just random people like comments. I like reading comments, stuff like that. They just say that they are not ready. So and the numbers show that surveys and stuff like that. They say that they're just not ready, and whether it be maybe they're just saying that to hide something, whatever it is. It could be an abusive relationship, which is horrible. It could be that it's a medical thing, ectopic pregnancies. Those are a thing. Whatever the reasons are for an abortion, the majority is for a career. They want their career to go forward and other convenience things.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So
That kind of makes me think you should be on my side, though. Like, this is like the second time you've said something that seems oddly pro.
No, she's
That's
just
a
saying-
big deal.
no,
Being ready for parenthood is a big deal. Pursuing a career is a big deal, right? No, we shouldn't be encouraging people in the name of some weird civic morality to
well, it's
I'm
not
sorry.
really- no, it's fine. It's not
I mean,
really
they
a
got-
morality thing. It's just responsibility thing. You got to take
Yeah, oh, yeah.
responsibility.
It's taking away the responsibility. Yeah, I mean, who said for them to get pregnant? Back in the day, when there was no means of abortion, they just had the baby. I mean, so it's like people learn to be a little more responsible.
Yeah, and then there's lots of women who have careers and children. Like, I mean, just because you have a child doesn't mean you cannot pursue your careers. It's going to be harder.
Yeah, quote unquote,
Harder.
quote unquote, not ready is like very subjective. Like
Right.
anyone who says that who they've had a child, just speak to them. It's like, oh, we thought we weren't ready. People will tell you like, oh, I'm waiting when I'm ready. It's like, yeah, you're never
Right.
going to be ready.
Never.
So nobody's disagreeing with the proposition that it's going to be harder. The argument is that it's more likely to lead to better outcomes if you let people become parents when they're ready. Yeah, it's possible they could do better. It's possible they could have 20 children and be millionaires by the time they're 40.
It's not just possible.
We have to argue. We have to argue on probabilities.
It's
Yeah,
not.
but-
It's not that it's possible. Liberal sanity. It is shown. It's that it's a net negative on women. I mean, Sonny is bringing that up. I mean, what's the whole reason you're bringing those women up, Sonny?
It's because whenever people have like a service,
Mhm.
some people take advantage of that, and it can get out of hand. Just like our wealth, everything that is socialized right now is out of hand. It's crazy out of hand, and the government does not know how to do stuff correctly. They will take it out of hand. Like Social Security is out of control, Medicare is public education is out of control, and that should be the easiest thing. So with this, if the government takes control and it's publicly funded, it's going to get out of control. It's going to be disorganized. It's going to be not well funded. I just think, and if women are doing this as a convenience, they're just going to keep getting abortions,
Right.
and be really irresponsible with it. That's my.
Sonny, I have to ask, do you believe that abortions are okay under any circumstances?
Only in the life of the mother. I'm very pro-life. Yeah.
How about incest or rape?
No.
And
Said
why are you
only.
against those?
Only in the life of the mother.
Why are you against those other two instances that I mentioned?
Because
Just out of curiosity.
even though what the violence committed against the mother is very bad,
Uh-huh.
very, very bad, and the whoever did it should go to jail forever, or capital punishment. Maybe that's something that they can consider.
There's that hypocrisy again.
I know, I know that you think that, but it's not the child's fault. The child did not ask to be born or to be made. It was just made. Even though it was an act of violence that happened, it's just, the baby shouldn't have to die because of it. An act of violence should not be answered with another act of violence. And even though people don't think it's violence, I do, and I don't want to bring morality into this again, even though I did before.
Yeah, so we're stuck on the morality memes again, and so I have to ask: aside from morality, do you have any reason aside from you think it's wrong that there shouldn't be public funding of abortion?
Right, because kind of like I said earlier, you having a moral objection to something doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have to fund it, because you could come up with a moral objection to literally anything the government does.
And my reasons for not wanting to fund it is because it will go out of control. Like
it's a net negative. How about it's a net? I mean, I don't know what else argument there could be. I mean, to me, in my opinion, it's a net negative on society. It's not just monetary. I mean, you can look at it like, oh, there's this many less lives, so that means we're spending this much less money. But I think that it is affecting the lives of women, our culture, how we view the life of children, how we view human life in general in this country. It's being cheapened.
But Dreamer, can we really base policies based on cultural implications though? Because there's lots of laws I could make that, like, I would say affects culture and stuff like that you might say, well, that's authoritarian.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say it's authority. I mean, I don't know what else you want me to say. Yeah, you can go back to morality, because in my opinion, I don't see the difference between aborting a fetus and infanticide. I honestly don't see the difference.
Right. So we're arguing on the morality of it again.
I'm trying to avoid doing that, even though I recognize that I'm bringing in morality.
I don't have any other argument besides that.
I kind of disagree with you on that, Dreamer, because you can't really make laws based on that, especially, from culture and stuff like that, that will create an authoritative thing, and we would go into socialism real fast if we did that. So my thing is, it's just, like we introduced, the Obamacare. I don't know the name of it right now, but it was awful. It was very poorly implemented. It was expensive, and people didn't sign up for it because it was going to be too expensive anyway, and they were going to be penalized, and it's going to be cheaper anyway. And I'm not saying that, I am saying that the government is inept. And until the government can show otherwise, that they can take care of the American people, which they haven't done that in decades, then I don't want any other publicly funded programs going out there, whether it be healthcare, abortion, or whatever. I would rather not have abortion just because of my beliefs and what I believe. But if it were to come about, I just think that it would be a nightmare, a mess. It would probably work in the beginning. People would be grateful for it, but it would mess up.
So I have to ask then, if your entire objection is predicated on the belief that government does not do things efficiently and well, right? It doesn't do what's best for its people. Would you be fine with publicly funded abortion if it were under the assumption, like if the government could fund abortion and do it efficiently, cost effectively, economically, and do it well, would you be against it?
Oh yeah, I would be. Most definitely. Because
so that argument doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
then.
Right.
Well, I understand that, but I'm trying to take that out of the equation. But you asked my opinion, I would still be against it. So I'm trying to take that out of the equation. If they were to do it and I was like a pro-choice person, then yeah, I would be all for it. But I'm pro-life, so I can't really say that I would be for it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. Yeah, I was just fielding the field.
Gotcha.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how other way you can frame the argument. I mean, it's not that we're saying it has to be morality. Like with me, it's just like I'm not out there advocating. I mean, I don't think people should. I want to create abortion taboo to the point where, I mean, it's not there that I'm out creating there, but I think it should be, and that's how I view it. But I'm not out there trying to like stop abortions. I just don't want any of my money going towards. I just don't think it should be publicly funded because I don't want it. Like, what's wrong with that argument?
Well, nothing's well. What's wrong with that argument? There's a whole host. There's a giant field of things you already fund that you don't want. That the reason that's not a valid argument is because it'd be like Elias said, it could be extended to basically damn well anything.
Right. Exactly.
So I guess I'm compelled to ask, since you're under no circumstances kind of you're operating under that axiom. Is there not any kind of a situation where you would see a benefit to abortion? Like, you can't imagine any public good coming from abortion?
No, right. Yeah, I don't see any public good coming from it at all. And even in Sonny's case, where it's for the life of the mother, I think like even like Tim Tebow, like that's what they told her. Like, oh yeah, she should get an abortion, and she ended up giving birth to him. So it's like there's many cases where it's like even in the life of the mother, it doesn't. Like I said, in any case, I don't think it's a good. To answer your question,
even in the life of the mother.
Yeah, I mean that's just the term the doctor says.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Let
me ask this. Let me ask this to Revenge really
because
quickly.
I actually talked to Dreamer on a stream once about this, and he said when the mother's life is at risk, you think abortion should be an option, though.
Right, and I guess I've changed my opinion. I think.
What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I want to pose this. I want to pose a question really quickly to Revenge and Sunny. So if you guys believe that the fetus is a life, do you think that abortion should carry the same punishment as straight up murder?
No.
Then you don't believe it's a life. Then you don't believe it's a life.
I do.
No, I do. I do believe it's a life, but it's
I do think it should bring the same punishment.
Abortion is so mainstream, and we can't come to a point to where, oh, if you make this abortion, oh, you're going to go to jail for murder. We can't get to that point yet, unless it's been outlawed for decades and decades and decades.
I didn't say it's feasible. I said, do you believe that abortion should carry the same punishment as murder?
I think it's a complicated question.
Well, I'll
wait. What's wrong with the question, Sonny?
Because right now, I don't think it should be, because abortion is so mainstream. People can go get an abortion, no one will bat an eye. But
do you predicate morals on whether or not something is mainstream?
Well, I mean,
the fact that slavery was a legal institution at one point didn't make it any more moral.
I understand that, but then the courts would probably say, if you have slaves now, we'll let you go with a slap on the wrist. That's just the reality of it. I don't know if that's
right, though.
It's not right. I don't think abortion is right.
There's a whole constitutional amendment against that. If your moral axiom is that abortion is murder, you should be advocating that you treat it like murder. You should be advocating that both women and abortion doctors are put on trial for murder when they get.
I totally agree with that.
Well, she's
I'm not saying I agree with that being implemented, but I agree that that's a framework you have to work within if you want to hold any sort of consistency to your argument.
No, I don't think so, because I don't think, again, right now, abortion is the norm. It's legal. Right now, it's legal. If it were to be made illegal, which I don't see that happening anytime soon, then yeah, I'd be like, okay, you go to jail if you get an abortion. But so, Sonny, now it's legal. Yes.
I'm sorry. I want to ask you the same question I asked Dreamer. Can you see absolutely no societal benefit to abortions? Not to me, no. Okay.
Well, I mean, if it's the life of the mother, like if the baby is outside of the womb, or if it's, some kind of medical complication to where if the pregnancy continues, it will kill the mother, because I can only think of one instance.
So just to be clear, you're both rejecting the proposition that it reduces crime.
I have to read your thing, but
I could agree with you that it reduces crime. But I guess offing every child that's going to be born too reduces crime as well.
It would. But we're talking in general societal benefits. I'm not talking about an extreme where we off every child. If you want an abortion, I'm saying you should be allowed to get an abortion, and there's a benefit if you want to get one. Right. When I asked you this question earlier, you said you couldn't see a single benefit.
But on the other hand, aren't you killing maybe the future cure of cancer, or maybe the next?
Yeah, you could also be killing the future Hitler. Like that argument's unfalsifiable.
It goes both ways. You're killing good babies and bad babies. We don't know.
But think about it this way, though. Like, realistically, do you think that child is likely to become this whatever great politician, scientist, whatever, or grow up either in a broken home or in a foster home, or some sort of environment that's just not gonna be good for the child. I'm just saying, like, orphans have it really bad, even in the United States of America.
Excuse me. Yes, I mean I understand that, but there are a lot of orphans that came through and did good.
But
you know what's worse than being an orphan?
Mm-hmm.
You know what's worse than being an orphan?
Is it being dead?
Being aborted, pretty much.
Oh, if you don't feel anything.
Still bad. You don't get to live. You're robbed at the chance of life. You made it through the lottery of swimming through the sperm, and then guess what? You're out.
Yeah, swimming through the sperm.
Yeah, I mean, you're the sperm swimming to the egg, and then
Up the vaginal canal. Okay, I'll stop. I'm sorry.
But it's like we can't base our policies based on like morality or based on
Or
how.
hypothetical.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What's up?
Who's talking? Jadiva, you said something?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because I just feel like when it comes to this issue, it's a lot of hypotheticals. Like, oh, if,
Sure.
maybe.
Yeah, that wasn't hypothetical with me.
I guess
you can claim, but here's the thing: you can claim that it's not hypothetical, but it is the same thing. Just because you have a study showing that it reduces crime, I mean, if we have a study showing that if we stopped abortion for 10 years and it showed that crime is going down, I mean, do you see what I mean? Like, I don't hold this as I don't believe your study isn't like the end all be all.
Hypothetical. Well, I'm not saying it's the end all be all, but I'm saying my study is a study. It's a look. It's a model based on reality. We examine data and we drew conclusions from it, right? That's what a study is. It's not hypothetical. Sure. It's not something we conjured up in fantasy. It's an actual thing that could be observed. There was a drop in crime so many years after Roe versus Wade.
Yeah, I mean, but I can look at this. I just don't. Maybe I don't have authority in your study. Like, I really don't.
So on this study of yours, does it show like trends from crime going down? Okay, because I haven't seen it yet. I haven't heard it. It's in
the Hangouts window, but there's another interesting thing that solidifies the conclusion from it. Because before abortion was fully legalized after Roe, several states had already legalized abortions individually. Right. And those states experienced the same drop-off in crime that every other place did after Roe. And they experienced it sooner, right? So they can do a longitudinal study. They draw a straight line from the legalization of abortion to the drop in crime this many years later. And so it solidifies its own conclusion. You can read it. The data is pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it here, and that's great and all, but what is it like? Does it control so many other variables? I mean, to me, it's just kind of simple math. I mean, did you need a study to show that if you have less humans, you're going to have less crime?
Well, apparently you do need a study for that. You were contesting it.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm contesting it, but it's like that doesn't draw the conclusion that this 10-year. So how long was the study for?
I'm not sure, but you can check it has the tables, it has the graphs, you can check it, and you can also read the conclusion. And it basically does, I can tell you the methodology. It looked at the demographic groups, which is adults from this age to this age, most likely to commit crime. So you look this many years after the legalization of abortion, let's say 18 years, right? Adults 18 years to 25 years are most prone to crime. So you look 18 to 25 years after the legalization of abortion, and you look at the crime rates, and you compare it to the crime rates before abortion was legalized, right? And if you notice a measurable drop-off in crime, you can tie it to the legalization of abortion. That's what they did.
Yeah, I mean, correlation doesn't equal causation. I mean, this is from 1971 to 1979, so I thought it was 10 years. I mean, that's even a little less than 10 years, but I mean, I'm not trying to play semantics here. I mean, I would love to see an updated study of, I guess, over, since Roe v. Wade, but I just, I'm not saying just because I have this study here, this is the absolute fact. I mean, that's just not how I view the world.
Okay. Also, if we have like a stream average of abortions every single year, it's going up and down every once in a while, so if we have, like, let's say hypothetical, if we have the same amount of abortions every single year, crime goes up and down all the time. So does that necessarily mean that abortions cause less crime?
And crime has been going down. Oh, go
Of
ahead,
course,
sorry.
crime's been going down. We've been getting richer. Abortions do cause less crime. I explained this earlier that there's never a end all be all solution to anything, any one problem in society, right? It's never just abortion that's going to fix the crime problem in the Black community, right? It's better schools, it's more police. I listed a whole bunch of things earlier, right? So we can, like I said, it's all a myriad of things working together, and one of those things is abortion.
Better schools for sure. Our school systems suck.
Parents. I mean, Jadiva said it. I mean, that's
You get better parents by allowing for abortion.
No.
all
When
right.
there's a world of difference between having a child you want and having a child you don't want.
That's fair.
I mean, like I said, I've had friends that who've had abortions. They said that they didn't have it as well for the same reason Sonny had, because they weren't quote unquote ready, and then they said that they do regret it. You know, you never know when you're ready for a child.
But
Well,
can we really?
I had friends who all had abortions, and they said it was the best decision they'd ever made. Like
Yeah.
your anecdote doesn't prove anything. We have to do this empirically. We have to look at data and draw our conclusions. We can't go off anecdote.
I dispute your data. I mean, just because
That's fine.
it's I mean, it's from 1971 to 1979. This isn't just because of this that means we should, this is why we should publicly fund abortions. And you're
This is from the Quarterly Journal of Economics, published in May of 2001. 71 to 79 was just the period of abortion legalization throughout the country, right? So if you look forward, it's in the 90s where they observed the drop off.
Sure. Okay. They observed in the 90s. Yeah. I mean, there could be in many studies, like I'm not just in this mind frame that I have to accept this study because
But Dreamer,
this
can I
is
ask
the
you
most
something?
current.
Dreamer, can I ask you something though?
Yeah.
What do you think is better in terms of advocating for policy? Anecdotes, individual anecdotes, or peer-reviewed studies?
I would say peer-reviewed studies. In fairness, I mean, I don't argue with studies. I don't have a study in front of me to show me.
You're arguing with studies right now. You just said you rejected it. You
No.
literally said that a minute ago.
No, I know. What I'm trying to say is that I don't have a study. I'm answering Classy's question when he said, how should we advocate law? Should we advocate through anecdotes or studies? That's what I'm responding to. So
I guess I'm just confused because you seem to be giving him a different answer than you gave me earlier.
yeah, you asked me a different question. He's asking me about the law.
He's saying that,
I'm disputing the study when it comes to the law. That's what I'm telling Classy.
This study he rejects. He doesn't really trust the data. But other studies, if he trust the data, I guess maybe he's a little bit biased, but
Right.
Yeah, it could just be confirmation bias though, because when you look at data, you should be critical of it and analyze certain factors like extraneous variables and different independent variables and whatever. But
Sure.
I don't know, maybe we just need to look into this more. And because of the fact that we don't know about
I don't expect everyone to absorb it all at once. I'm simply summarizing what the hypothesis is, and I explain the methodology. I encourage you all to read it in your own time and come back. Like we don't have to take that as evidence for anything right now. I'm just saying that in order to bolster my claim that abortion reduces crime, I provide this study.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's part of the case you're building. But Revenge, wouldn't it be fair to say that the primary thrust of your argument against publicly funding abortion has been a moral one rather than an efficiency one anyway?
Sure. Sure.
Okay, and so then how would you respond to the point I made earlier about the fact that you could come up with a moral objection to anything government does and therefore government ceases to be?
I mean,
It's probably something you'd agree with, to be totally honest.
Repeat the question one more time.
So earlier I said that a moral objection isn't grounds against publicly funding something because you could, in theory, come up with a moral objection to anything. So that wouldn't be specific to abortion. And like I said, if no one had to pay any taxes, they wouldn't, and government would cease to be altogether. So how would you respond to that?
I mean, I guess I don't have a response. I mean, I guess we can't do it against if we're going to get with morality, then everything would fall apart, and I don't have an argument.
Okay, fair enough.
There are laws that are moral. Of course, murder is one. Adultery is illegal in so many states still. I don't know why, but there have been laws made on morality and things that what's right and wrong and what's I guess basically good things. They have made laws on that. So I get where Dreamer is coming from. It's something that's in the past now. People usually don't do that because we're mostly a secular country. We're not really a Christian country anymore. And I'm a Christian, by the way. That's where I get my pro-lifeness from. So it's what used to be, but now is not anymore. And I guess he's just, I come from a morality perspective as well. But during this, I guess, little discussion debate, I'm trying to put in the back burner. But it's like, it's who I am.
I mean, to be fair, you're not really putting it on the back burner. That's more or less all you have. And the fact of the matter is, like I said, you could come up with a moral objection to anything.
Right.
If that was a standard we're working off of, this whole conversation becomes irrelevant because no one's going to be paying anything at that point.
I've already given my reasons why I don't want it.
And that's what I want.
Funded, though.
Yeah, that's why I said earlier, Avenge, that's probably something you would agree with, which is why I respect the consistency aspect that you have to it, and I think that's what Sunny is missing and why her argument, in my opinion, is faltering.
Well, I've already given my reasons. I don't think that the government is very good at implementing goods and services. They do, because let's look at the VA. That's probably, honestly, the strongest thing that they have besides the military. We're just going to leave the military out because, everyone knows that America's king in the military. VA is probably the best thing, and it's in shambles. Public education could be so much better because it benefits the wealthy, rich white people. I mean, I'm not an SJW of any kind, but that's true. And then the more unfortunate neighborhoods like the Black and the Hispanic people, they get the butt end of the stick on the education. Everything that's, not everything, but most of the things that are publicly funded by federal government could be so much better, and it could be so much better implemented. I just think if abortion was legal, and well, it is legal, but if abortion was publicly funded, which it kind of is, but it just goes to Planned Parenthood, it's just not going to be, it's going to be there, it's going to be funded per se, but it's just not going to be good. And I just don't want anything healthcare touching the government. I don't think healthcare should be publicly funded.
At all.
Nothing, no.
You believe in a completely privatized healthcare system?
Yes, like it used to be.
Okay, that's where we should have started then, if you ask me.
Well, this is a separate debate, guys.
Oh, I'm not ready for that. But Sonny, but didn't, sorry, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I missed part of that though, but didn't you concede earlier that even if abortion publicly funded, we had a great system, everything worked fine, economics works fine, funding works fine, science, medical services works fine. You did say that you would still be against it then.
Yes.
Matter of principle.
Right. In a matter of principle, I would still be, but I'm just trying to put that away. Like if I did not have any moral compass and I were to say, oh, if it was, because that's my moral compass. Okay. If it was,
I'm just laughing at the implication that we don't have a moral compass.
I know. Well, no. That's not it. That's not what I'm saying.
You don't have a moral barometer.
More barometer. But yeah, I'm just saying if it was in a perfect world, if everything was good and we had money in the bank and everything was good to go and funded and I was pro-choice, yeah, I'd be all for it. But in a hypothetical situation, I would do that. But in real life, I wouldn't. But I don't see that ever happening. Like, I don't ever see that ever happening at all.
All right, so does anybody else have any points that they want to bring up?
Can I ask a question?
Because I don't know what much there is to say.
Can I ask a question though?
Yeah, I want to say something before.
All right, go on.
Yeah,
hold on. First.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that I know that it's like we want to frame this with, this is the empirical fact because we have this study. I understand that. I just dispute, like, I guess, yeah, what Sonny is saying. If I don't have any morality, yeah, it's going to reduce crime. Let's just allow abortion to be publicly funded because it's going to reduce crime, and I guess that is what we determine as the net good. I mean, I guess I'm going to go and find some studies behind, the psychology of women and what it's doing. I mean, we can look at studies of happiness of women. Happiness of women has been going down tremendously. I do think abortion has a lot to do with that as well. I mean, I can find studies showing that.
Oh, okay, so can I ask a question? So this is more towards the abortion question rather than funding it, though.
Go for it.
One of the criticisms many pro-choice people have for pro-life, at least pro-life conservatives, is that you care so much about the embryo or the fetus, whatever, that you would fight for it and everything. But once it's born,
Yeah, that's bullshit. That's
It is
a violation.
Totally
So
agree with
would
that
you? So would you?
100%.
would you be in favor of improving the education system?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Absolutely. That's like
Sex education.
I mean, it doesn't mean throw more money at it.
yeah, and then well, I mean to me,
No, it really
I would-
does.
It does. How else
think,
do you
yeah,
plan on-
it definitely needs more money. It definitely needs more money to me.
There
And
you
that's
go.
one thing that's like it's conflicting in my mind because I want less government, but then education is so bad. But education is bad because it's just bad. And there's so much neglected, pockets of America who have really poor education. And I personally don't know any schools in Texas, even though this is a red state, that teach abstinence only. I've meant to, do some type of, survey or something to see what states do teach that because I don't know any. I mean, who lives in a southern state, like a red state? Does anyone?
I do.
Does
Yo.
your school teach abstinence
Classy and I.
only?
Well, for my county specifically, there's an option to opt out of abstinent only education. So it depends on county, actually.
What he's talking about, Florida's a little different. I think Florida is a red state.
Florida
but
is a red state.
It's like isn't it a swing state?
It is a swing state, but like when it comes to our own politics, state politics, we tend to vote Republican, like governor, state senators, state representatives.
Yeah, because y'all had Jeb. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, but I have a point though. I have another point to bring up. Then, do you think that progressives, liberal, conservatives can maybe they can't agree on the abortion issue? Fine. They want to create the best environment for children to be raised. Can they then agree on decreasing poverty, on maybe some sort of universal daycare? I mean, come on.
No.
Nope.
Nope.
Don't think so.
No.
So
I
the
mean, I think. Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
So
Go ahead.
the problem with conservatives is they interpreted the First Amendment. They read it like this: Congress shall make no laws, and then it stops there.
No, that's not what we.
I'm afraid we live in the real world.
That's
Some
not
parents
true,
don't
but
want
I
their
think it's
children.
funny.
It's
Some
a bit
people
of
are
a
born into
swing.
lottery.
The
Some
real
people are
world.
dealt really bad. Well, this is the real world. Some people aren't so lucky, and your options are either you let them starve in the street or you do something about it.
Right.
And I don't know about you, but I don't like living next to people starving in the street. So there's really a selfish charity at play here. Get them homes, get them educated, because I don't want to be surrounded by stupid people. I don't want to be surrounded by starving people. I don't want to be surrounded by criminals. So I basically look at what options do the best for most people in most places. Abortion is one of those options.
But you see, I want to believe the conservatives are pro-life all the way, not just
not.
during
That's
pregnancy,
not true.
but also after birth. I'm trying to fight for your side, but you guys make it hard for me when you say universal daycare. I don't think that's a great idea.
Because I never see
Maternity leave.
I never see the answer as throwing money towards something as
It's not throwing money towards it, it's creating a better environment.
which is more money that we don't fucking have.
All right, I'm going to take
The
the
most
reins.
obvious example is the fact that most people who call themselves pro-life are really just anti-abortion because they're pro-death penalty anyway. That's the most obvious example.
We don't have to go there.
No,
No.
that's not a good point. That's a
That's an excellent point.
That's a red
because
herring.
lots of
No, that's a
innocent
red
people
herring.
Die in the death penalty. That's not a red herring by any stretch of the
Let me just
imagination.
speak for myself. I am pro-life. I am pro-death penalty. Yes, you may think that that's a conundrum that you cannot be explained, but it makes sense to me. I advocate for pro-life things. I volunteer, or I used to when I used to live in Fort Worth. Went to a pro-life pregnancy center, and it cared for the baby during pregnancy, after pregnancy, and beyond. We have graduation pictures. We have, we support the child that the people that come to this place throughout the whole child's life. We donate baby clothes, baby food, diapers, all of that. I regularly volunteer.
Sorry, did you say crisis pregnancy center?
It's not really a crisis pregnancy center. It's just a pro-life center.
Okay.
You're wanting to
All right.
get an abortion and they come to us, we give them all the options. We're not saying, oh, this is we avoid, or they, when I used to volunteer there, they avoid putting pictures of Jesus because it is a Christian organization. They don't want any religious propaganda, I guess you could say, on there because it would turn people off. So, me, myself, I volunteer all the time. I go to places to feed the hungry. I go to this garden place where they grow organic food and we give it away. And they're all filled with Christian conservatives. So, I don't know what else to tell you. We care about people all the time. There's not missionaries and stuff like that who are always Christian conservatives. Like maybe one or two that I've met have been liberal, but they've been, left to center. They're more center than,
Just
far
because a
left.
conservative doesn't think like there should be a government program for something doesn't mean that they don't care.
Well-
Because I've also, yes, I've been to 2 women's events that
Sure. We're not
that-
doubting your personal charity, but I want to
Sure.
know precisely what your ideas even are, what positive claim you can bring to this discussion, right? So Dreamer, you said the solution to the problem is not to just throw more money at it, right? So what is the solution?
The solution is to, I don't have a solution for you, to be honest.
So then, okay, you just agreed with me earlier when I said Congress shall make no laws, and it stops there. You don't have a solution.
I think that we should
Yeah.
overhaul education totally. I think that our education system
How?
is so poor.
Tell me.
I don't know. I mean, the way
Well, I have a
Wait.
proposition.
what's
Go
your
ahead.
proposition?
Well, I noticed that a lot of the communities and this is kind of a democratic approach, so whatever, but I noticed a lot of the communities that have the worst education, or the communities where property values down, is, the housing, affordable housing projects, that sort of stuff. And of course, we know that schools, they get their funding from property taxes. So yes, I am saying throw more money at it, but I'm also saying, well, let's use that money wisely as well.
Yes.
Let's
Let's
have comprehensive sex education.
Mhm.
Let's have dual enrollment. Let's have I don't know, maybe some sort of job training or GED programs for parents. Okay, like, yes, these are things that require policy, but in a few places, I need a study for this, to be honest, but normally we do know that places where education is properly funded, they tend to do better, though. High income areas.
Yeah, that's totally true, and
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Having more money is way better than having no money.
Yeah. And
Exactly.
and that we shouldn't just throw money in. Like Texas is the worst of this. This is why our education is so poor. We throw all this money on football stadiums and sporting stuff. Like we need to stop doing that. If we put more money in our education rather than being on national television for the South Lake Carroll State Championship, then we could do better. Like that's what we need to focus on.
And I have another question. If your solution is a free market solution, which I like, don't get me wrong, but I'm still open to some government policies, charities, churches, whatever. You're still drawing money in principle, because these organizations, nonprofit, whatever,
Yeah, but
they
it's
need-
private.
it's private, sure, but you're still drawing money into it.
Most
Yeah, I
definitely.
mean, any problem has money. I'm saying that my thing is just like, honestly, I don't, when it comes to abortion, like, obviously, we're going to have a world that abortion is going to exist. Is it such a radical thing just to say that I don't want my money towards it? And yeah, it could be moral. I mean, I guess we can all choose things that we don't want to fund. As long as the option's still on the table, though, I mean, I'm going to go for it. I guess.
Well,
Go ahead.
this is what's disappointing to me. You put this question forward like asking if it's a radical thing. Well, you're not justifying beyond your own personal morality why it shouldn't be publicly funded. You just say you don't like it, and I'm sorry, but that's not a good enough reason.
Yeah, I have to agree with him there. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, you guys can.
I mean, are
guys
you
can say
advocating
that.
for voluntary taxes? That seems like that's essentially what your conclusion leads to.
I mean, my dream. I can speak about what my dream society. Yeah, I mean, I can
Go for it. Why not?
I would like to know.
We were
Yeah, I mean-
actually discussing it earlier before the stream.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Missed it.
we are totally off topic by this point.
That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Anybody-
Yeah, I can concede that. If this is a debate, I mean, I can concede that. I guess I lost, and yep, let's go for it. We're going to reduce crime, so
Fair
let's go kill the babies, right?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it was a win-lose thing. I just think, people are, if you want to argue on morality, that's fine. People don't like when you do that, and that's their thing to do. I'm kind of in the middle. I know that I strongly like morals, because Christian, whatever. Right? But I still believe that the government is just poor in their decision making skills. So we just we all have our opinions, and it's not really a win or lose. We all have, well, probably you, Liberal Sanity, and Elias, and pretty hair girl. I forgot your name again. You have very pretty hair.
Jadiva.
Jadiva. You probably are on the same probably thinking field with them. You haven't said much, and but it's all, we're all different, as long as we come here and we're not at each other's throats, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think this is a hell of a debate.
So I gotta say, there are no winners and losers talk. That's loser talk. You guys got wrecked. What facts?
Oh my gosh.
I'm just messing with you. Yeah. I'm just messing with you.
How will I survive?
Sonny,
I mean, I don't
love you.
disagree with him. but-
Dreamer, Sonny, I love you. I'm just
I love
kidding.
you
Okay.
too.
It was very nice of you guys to come on and talk and stuff. It was very fun.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
I had
agree.
fun too.
Yeah, and guys, and that's what I was talking to Classy off the stream here. We all have
I
radical.
advise against that, by the way.
we we all have radically different beliefs and everything, but that's what I love about this country, is that I guess we all can have different beliefs. We can all have different things we believe in and still coincide, and we're all gonna, I guess, we have laws and elections to elect people to enact certain laws and go certain ways, and that's the beautiful thing about this country, and that's that's a cool thing about us just jumping on this Google Hangouts and just talking to each other, right? I'm just so at any point I just want to throw that out there. So we're kind of heading at like the hour and 30 minutes mark, so I kind of tend to keep it around that. Yeah, it flies when you're on the stream. So I mean, was there any closing thoughts? I guess let me start with that. Is that my main thing is that one of the things that I've had here is my thing with abortion is that in my opinion, it does devalue human life. And if you look at the demographics that are affected the most, it is Black and Hispanics, and Hispanics have actually passed Blacks in terms of abortions and how many babies are dying from, or I guess unborn fetuses, whatever you want to do.
When did it happen?
I mean, according to this, might be like recently, like 2017. I think so. It could be. I'm looking at this. This right to life of Michigan. So I mean, that could be disputed, of course.
Michigan, wow.
Michigan.
That's where I'm from. Isn't that cool?
Hey, represent.
Yeah. So yeah, and that's the thing. I think we're just, if you look at the founder, or if you look at Margaret Sanger, what is it? Margaret Sanger who?
Margaret Sanger was the founder of Planned Parenthood.
Yeah.
Margaret Sanger is the founder of Planned Parenthood. You look at some of her quotes. She was very racist. She saw Black people as inferior, and I mean, I don't have the quotes in front of me, but just when you have that person who's starting out, they're the founder of Planned Parenthood, and now it's like turned around, and they're telling Black people to think a certain way. They're telling them to think as on the left, and that abortion is good, even though the founder was extremely racist. And it's almost kind of like a grand conspiracy when you think about it, because Black babies are the ones being aborted the most. And that's it's not just like, oh, it's because and like Liberal Sanity is saying, it is the demographics that are involved with crime, which is Hispanics and Blacks. And I don't think the solution is going to be to I know you have the study. I just don't think the solution should start at like, we should because of this, let's fund the abortions, let's kill the babies, right? That's it. And I guess if I don't have any facts or a study to back that up, I mean, I guess I'll lose that argument, but I guess.
Well, I just want to push back on something real quick. You said that pro-choice advocates are telling Black people to be on their side. Well, they're also telling Hispanic people and white people and every other type of person, because they're simply making the appeal. They want people to agree with them, of course. I don't think they're targeting a specific racial group.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, every group is doing that. I mean, both sides want,
Right. That's what I'm saying. So I don't see it as some grand conspiracy like you do. Now,
No,
I do
grand
agree with you that
conspiracy. Grand
Margaret
conspiracy
Sanger
with
was
Margaret
a largely
Sanger.
unsavory character, but I don't think that really holds any bearing on how Planned Parenthood and pro-choice advocates operate today in 2018.
Planned Parenthood, I think, is.
And this is coming from someone who's a moderate, by the way. I probably have my disagreements with the liberal sanity on the abortion specifics, but I do agree with him that so long as it's legal, it should be publicly funded because it falls under that umbrella of healthcare, which I view as a right.
So let me share something really quick here. This is a tweet. I guess this can kind of be one of the final points here. I saw this tweet by President Hotep Dubes, who said, my brother sent me this billboard. Oh, okay, it's on the screen. This group is advertising abortions to black women like it's a much needed spa day. If you don't think this is propaganda, then the shit is working better than I ever imagined. And yes, I mean, if we want to talk about propaganda, I guess if having pictures of Jesus is propaganda, I mean, we would consider this propaganda. This is showing, yeah, it's like I said, abortion is self-care.
That is an oof to me. That is a big oof.
So, I mean, just anybody's thoughts or
women take care of their families,
whatever.
take care of themselves. Come on. That bothers me. Sorry.
Yeah, this is a very ugly
propaganda. I mean, we're inundated with propaganda all the time. The fact that it's some rare thing is crazy. Every rally that you see Trump go to, that's a form of propaganda. His hats are a form of propaganda. Any campaign ad is propaganda. We're flooded with propaganda all the time. It's just a fact of life.
Dude, he's coming to Texas, a Trump rally. I'm going to try and go there. I've never been to one. I'm going to record all of the cringy MAGA hat people. Oh, I can't wait.
Are you a supporter of his? You said you were conservative earlier.
Yeah, I'm a conservative. I didn't vote for him in the election, but if he runs in 2020, which I'm pretty sure he will, I'm gonna vote. Wait.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, I was not a supporter. I was a never Trumper, but he has changed my mind. His policies, I think, are working really well. So I'm gonna vote for him.
Which policies?
Policy is not really a policy. He's making the economy great. My check is higher.
How did he make the economy great?
By bringing jobs back to America, getting rid of some of the regulations that kept businesses from growing. Unemployment is, way down.
Unemployment was going down anyway.
Yeah, I don't believe
it was
that.
already at like 4% when he got in. That's why, it kills me when Republicans say he's making the economy great. It was already pretty damn good.
But you can tell just by, even before he got in office, people who were owning businesses starting to see, the promise of getting a better economy, they were starting to make changes. So I can see the difference just, because I'm going to be honest with you. I was excited about Obama in the beginning, and I didn't vote for him because, I was just, I'm conservative, so I'm going to vote for, whoever it was, and I regret
John McCain.
Yeah, I regret that for sure. Oh my God, I regret that. But I still would have, regretted voting for Obama, but I changed my mind. But I thought he was the most horrible, not really the most horrible, but he was very inept. He didn't do much. So
I agree with you there.
Whenever I see the economy doing the way it is, and what Trump is doing, I do apologize. I know maybe it was on a trend, but I attribute that to Trump because all the things that he has been doing that we've been waiting for all this time, and he just does it. I can't think of one example right now, but because
you're saying that he's keeping his promises.
Exactly.
I think
so. Totally honest. That's what I like least about him.
I like it.
Crazy with me. What I've noticed is that Republicans, for all of their transgressions, are much better fighters than the Democrats are, and that's what frustrates me so much. That's why I'm so excited about this new progressive wing of the Democratic Party, because they're actually bringing some energy.
Really? You think that we are fighting better?
Absolutely.
Yeah, usually it's I mean, I'm not Republican. I vote Libertarian, and I didn't vote for Trump. And I think Obama and Trump are kind of the same, to be honest. And Trump, he kind of got in the office because he was saying the truth when it came to regulations and everything. But now he's in office, he's actually just he's kind of doing the same things as Obama. And I will think he will fail. Not that I want him to fail. I want him to succeed. But I think I just don't have faith in any president. I have faith in myself, and like I said, libertarian to me, I want government as less as possible. And I was gonna make a point, but I got sidetracked. So Someone just jump in.
What really frustrates me is when people say you should want the president to succeed, because I always respond with, what does that mean? If succeeding for Trump means pushing through his agenda, I 100% do not want him to succeed. I want him to fail on every single front. And that's me showing my love for the country, because I think his agenda is absolutely disgraceful and disastrous.
Sure. When I say succeed, it's just that I want the country to do well, you know. And I don't think, like I said, there's another bubble, there's another economic bubble that's about to pop. You know, Trump.
You're probably right about that.
Yeah, Trump, you know, isn't going to help that. Obama couldn't have helped it. I don't think there's any president could have helped it. I think Trump will win again because.
Oh, I'm back.
Hey, what's up?
Is everyone here? Is everyone still here? We're
Yes.
still alive?
Yeah, you dropped
Okay,
that.
cool.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, yeah, no problems. So, fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say.
That happens
What
to me.
about Trump running for 2020?
Yeah, I think he is. I think he is gonna win. Again, because there's no real candidate that I'm seeing. I mean, Ben Shapiro.
Yeah. Well,
I would-
2020.
Very much feelings.
But yeah, but what kind of political party would he run? I mean, he wouldn't run Democrat.
The Ben Shapiro Party.
Yeah.
Daily Wire Party.
Oh, don't bring up Ben
The
Shapiro
Facts
right
and
now. He's
Logic.
the only
No, the
person in
Facts
United
and
States
Logic
who's
Party.
actually more
Thank
The
you.
Facts and Logic
Please
Party.
don't bring that guy up.
The Facts and Logic Party.
The Facts and Logic Party.
And
Ben Shapiro's one
his
of the
VP is going to be Jordan Peterson. Oh, no, he's Canadian.
Oh my
Never mind.
gosh, yeah.
people I've ever seen in my life.
Can
That'd be
you
awesome.
imagine the speeches, Kermit the Frog on stage?
Are we talking about Jordan Peterson now?
Burger King.
Clean your room, bucko.
Yeah.
Give me a break,
Um,
Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, I honestly think, without getting to the whole Trump debate, I think Trump will probably win. There's going to be some shit that's going to happen in his second term, and then we're going to go back to a Democrat. I don't.
That's like the natural
It's just a
swing of
cycle.
things. Yeah, I think it's going to be Kamala Harris after Trump.
Everything
No,
about this
they're saying she's
conversation
going to run in
is perfect.
2020.
So bad.
Oh well, I think she's not going to hold. I don't think she's going to win against Trump in 2020. Kamala Harris, I think, is better than. As long as Hillary doesn't win, I think the Democrats have a chance. I hope she doesn't.
You know who I hope
As long as
runs?
Hillary doesn't run, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Hillary.
Win.
Yeah,
She ain't gonna run, so don't even worry about it.
Yeah, she won't run again.
I want to.
promise
No,
you
I
that.
want to see Kanye in 2020. He promised
Oh,
us.
stop.
No, I think we are. No, I say this as a joke, but I tell this to people in real life. I do think we are going to see like celebrity presidents. Like I think The Rock. I honestly think he might end up being the president. If someone is going to usurp Trump, it's going to be like a celebrity figure with like a. I mean, it sounds crazy. It sounds insane, but I mean, I was thinking about the same
I
thing.
think it's a fluke. I see it more as a fluke. It's a one-time thing. It's like, hey, remember
I
that
don't think
time
so.
Trump was president? Yeah, that was crazy.
No. I think we are in crazy times. I think we're living in a real life.
We've always been in crazy times.
No, but we're living in a Black Mirror episode when it comes to technology.
True.
We're living in a Black Mirror episode because of technology. Because whether I didn't vote for Trump, I didn't really care who won during the election. Something that stood out so profoundly to me is I think it was like the day after he got elected, or one of these interviews he did after he got elected. Something interesting he said is that, like, oh yeah, Hillary, she had all this money, she had all these celebrities, she had Jay-Z and Beyonce at her concerts, and she couldn't even fill the stadium. And I just had myself. I had, and when he says that, he used social media. I mean, he used Twitter, to win. Like social media, they're going to be studying in history books, and this period that we're going through right now, wherever they, from the start of the internet to whenever it's going to end, this period of social media, how we're all connected, it's insane. And that there are like certain historical turning points that have happened because of social media, because of technology. And I do think Donald Trump is one of them. And like I said, do not be surprised if we get another celebrity popular president. Like I said, I'm predicting The Rock. Like I said, just
Let's not
predictions.
do this twice.
hope
This is
it's-
already a catastrophe.
Hope his policies are good. I don't know. I don't know what.
I'm not denying that Trump was famous before he ran, because he obviously was. But just speaking personally, I had heard the name, but before he announced his running, I didn't know what he looked like. Like, he was not
didn't
on my
know
No,
Donald
but
radar.
Trump
Trump
was involved.
Seriously.
Was a political candidate before. To be fair, he did run for the Reform Party. I think.
Yeah, I heard about that.
That's right.
Who, Trump?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was also a
What year?
lifelong donator to the Democratic Party.
But I
That's
didn't know
why
what he
we vote
looked
there.
like. I remember my cousin telling me shortly before he officially declared that he was planning on running, and I thought the guy had black hair. I did not know what he looked like. He was not on my radar at all.
The
Of
weirdest
course, now
homeover
unfortunately he is on my radar because I don't have a choice. I live in the
Yeah.
country and I'm a
A
citizen of the
A
world.
guy named Donald isn't gonna have black hair, dude.
What? What does that even mean?
I don't know.
Donald Trump Jr. What the hell? Come on.
Right.
brown hair.
I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I'm just bullshitting.
I low key hope that Jack from Twitter bans Trump. Oh my god,
You
just,
and me both.
just stop tweeting Trump. Just stop.
If he does that, like the Secret Service is gonna come after Twitter. I don't know.
Dude, I mean, just let it happen. Twitter is a joke anyway. Just let it happen. Just ban Trump from Twitter. Honestly, I'm sick of seeing his retweets on my feed. Like I don't follow him.
The Trump administration would probably like sue Twitter or some shit like that.
Let it happen.
They would
As long
have
as we
no
get
grounds.
They wouldn't.
Yeah, they don't. I guess. I mean, they're a private business if they wanted to, but I don't know. I think Trump he kind of does dig himself a hole with the whole tweeting, and now all his tweets like are official,
Archived.
Archived, yeah, exactly. And like I said, we're fucking living in a real life Black Mirror episode, guys. You guys laughed when I said it.
Yeah, because you didn't vote for him, and you opted to vote Libertarian, and Sonny opted to. Did you vote for him, Sonny?
Mm-mm.
Okay, well, damn it, I want somebody to take responsibility for this, and none of
Sorry, you're not gonna get it.
I wasn't even old enough to vote at the time.
And I voted for
How
Obama.
about next time we don't? Yeah, well, next time vote Obama again. Like just keep voting Democrat. Stop screwing up.
I'm
No,
like that
this
white
is
dad. It's like
This
that
was
white
an-
dad from Get Out who was like, I would have voted for
Oh, man.
Obama a third time.
Dude, I would amend the Constitution in a heartbeat to allow Obama to serve a life sentence, a life term. Fuck me.
Life sentence. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
yeah,
That's
Life
slavery.
term.
May
Like,
happen.
if it would get rid of Donald Trump, I don't know what you guys see in him. I see a walking catastrophe who
Agreed.
rage tweets about how the world is out to get
I
him.
agree.
Who makes
That's
decisions that make absolutely no sense, like withdrawing from the Iran deal that does nothing to help us.
I
see a
absolutely
guy
agree. Yeah.
Who picks fights with dictators over what? Let me go a dick measuring contest with Kim Jong Un. What does that do for this country?
I
Hey,
understand.
in
that, and
fairness, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying I agree with all those descriptions of Trump, but unless another Republican that is sane and well spoken, like Rand
I mean, to be
Paul.
fair, I'm not a conservative, but like on Sonny's side and maybe Dreamer's side, they really don't have a choice. Like clearly, issues like abortion are very important to them, and I don't think a Democratic candidate would make much sense to them.
Yeah,
What about
I mean,
every other issue, though?
I mean, all the issues that I vote for, honestly, is education reform.
That's the Democrat.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I was just
No.
gonna say, if you like education reform, then you should be definitely opposed to Trump because he appointed someone, Betsy DeVos, to Secretary of
I-
Education, who has no experience with public schools whatsoever.
Yes.
Her children
How am I
never went
supposed
to
to know
them.
that?
She
I
never
didn't
went
vote
to
for
them.
him. I didn't vote for
You,
him.
you
Fair
don't get
enough.
the
I'll give you that, but you said
hilarious
you
irony
voted
of
for him
this,
in
Sonny, when
2020.
you're like, yeah, this is like, I want education reform, I want green energy, I want
Nope,
universal.
I-
I'm going to vote Republican. Like,
No,
what-
I'm
he's
not in
no
favor of green energy.
You
I
know
I
what's funny?
but I'm not. But in
Like,
this
why
whole,
would you be in favor of green energy?
because it's a job killer. It really
How is it a
is.
job killer?
It's the largest energy industry in this country. What are you talking
Right.
about?
But we don't.
We have
know
more
how
jobs
to
in
do
solar
it.
than we do
Investing in new forms of energy creates jobs. Doesn't
Sony,
destroy them.
Sony, are you for nuclear energy?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Are you for nuclear energy?
It's not really big on my radar. Green energy. Sorry, hold on.
Well, then why would you say it's a job killer if it's not on your radar?
Ouch! Because Obama messed it up. He made.
Oh my, you're gonna bring up the Solyndra thing now?
Yes.
Here we go with
I broke my
Solyndra.
nail. Damn it.
That's a classic Fox News talking point.
I haven't watched.
I didn't say you
mainstream-
did.
I know, but like Woo! Jesus.
You like Infowars? You guys watch Infowars?
Did you see that?
What
No.
was that, girl?
I don't know.
I watch Infowars for fun.
I don't watch Infowars.
Honestly, I
kidding,
have a deep,
Infowars
dark
money,
confession
please.
to make. I used to be a pretty big Alex Jones fan back in the day.
Oh, really?
Elias, I'm
Mom.
legitimately not
Do you know?
surprised.
Do you know any flat earthers, by the way?
I do.
Personally?
I work with one.
Anybody?
Yeah, classy liberal.
Yeah,
I honestly want to get a flat earther and to, cause I love like, I don't believe in any conspiracies, but I love like talking about them and like just going deep on them just because it's
Talking
like
about the flat Earth. Come on, man.
Man,
Yeah,
my,
could-
my
Offending me
team
right now.
lead is a flat earther.
Your
Like,
what
the-
is a flat earther?
My team lead at work is a flat earther.
No,
Yes.
you're joking.
It's a
And
growing
I got a
movement.
really good
It's
idea. How about
disgraceful.
you just stop giving platforms to crazy people to amplify their message?
she's not on the internet as much. You know, she's not like a social media. She doesn't have any. So she's
Yeah,
just.
where do you think she got the ideas, though?
I don't know. I don't
Probably
know. But she
YouTube.
was arguing with all these people about flat Earth. I'm just like,
Probably
am I?
ancient tablets.
You know what? This planet has existed for 2,018 years. We should all know better by now.
No, but it's
Why flat? Why do they think the Earth is a disc? If it's not a sphere, it could be an infinite amount of other shapes.
Oh
What?
my god, we
But
gotta
here's-
bring red pill
What led them
philosophy
to
on.
believe that it's flat? It could be a
Here's
triangle.
the actual easy way you can tell the shape of the Earth, right? So every now and again, this thing called an eclipse happens, right? Where the Earth's shadow is cast
Here
on the
we
moon.
go.
And if you look at Earth's shadow on the moon, you're going to notice it's in a circular shape.
Yeah, you see,
Okay,
that's
it's a
just a
circle in three
spotlight.
dimensions.
No, but that's just a spotlight created by the government to fool you.
the
Well,
one thing
to
the
be
government
honest,
got right.
Now they're using the microwave to make the Earth flat.
And what on earth would the motivation be to lie to people about the shape of the Earth?
Here's
What
the
does that
motivation.
accomplish? What does that do
Because-
for
Here's
anyone?
the motivation.
Because they're
Here's the
trying
motivation.
to bring over the Dark Order.
No, here's the
Go
motivation.
ahead, Revenge.
You can call me Dreamer. The motivation. Well, here's the thing. To answer liberal sanity, I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm not a flat earther.
Wait,
But
I know.
I went balls
Answer
deep.
me. I didn't ask a question.
No, I'm good because I'm going to respond to both of you guys. So
Oh, okay.
when they have the eclipse, they believe that they essentially believe it's a flat Earth, and it's like it's like we're the same shape. You know, it's not observed to be round; it's observed to be, I guess, a disc. That's what they believe, right? And the reason and the motivation is because beyond Antarctica, they basically believe Antarctica is not like a big landmass. It's like an ice wall that surrounds
Right.
the Earth, and it's like we're like on a dish plate, like a dish, like a dinner plate or whatever.
What the hell is wrong with these people?
And beyond the ice wall, there's more land. And the government is not wanting people to go because you're not allowed to fly over Antarctica, and then that's their proof that they're hiding more land beyond the ice
Yeah.
wall.
Have you ever been to Antarctica? I guess not. Can you go to your airport, American Airline Antarctica, Air Antarctica? No, it's not a thing. All right. So
Checkmate.
globalist rounders, you don't know what you're talking about.
Rounders.
All right, y'all. So we are pretty much at the end of the stream. Any final closing thoughts? Abortion
About flat Earth?
Look at my dog.
Yeah, so I want to say thank you to Sunny and Dreamer, and I'm sorry if I was too aggressive and mean and any of that stuff.
No, you weren't aggressive or mean enough.
Yeah,
You were fine.
that's my leftist viewers will say that. My righty viewers will say I was the dick.
No, you were fine.
No, it's all fun and games, and like I said, it's all just having a discussion, and yeah, no worries. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for all of you guys joining the stream. I know there was a lot of people here too that have watched previous streams, who I guess wanted to be on the show. As you guys know, please, we have our Discord in the description below. Please join our Discord if you'd like to be on the show on future episodes, for debates. If you have suggestions, I'm also soon going to be with the Critical Unbeliever. He's having streams of like debates too. I'm going to be having like a religion debate soon too, which might be interesting. So I'll let you guys know about that.
What the hell? You didn't invite me, bro? I'm like the biggest skeptic, fedora tipping atheist out there.
What does
Yeah.
that even mean?
My lady.
Yeah, I'll ask him if you can come too, so you can be my. I guess you'll be the yin to my yang. No homo. So yeah. So if you guys want to be on any future episodes, guys, or like this stream, if you like this debate, guys, we'll probably be streaming again Saturday. Stay tuned, and yeah, this has been Revenge of the Dreamer. Thank you so much.
Until then, stay classy.
That's right.
Peace.